Hello, everyone. I'm still in the series, 7 Steps in Approaching God. I'm on step number 6. I'm going to read Ruth 3, 1 through 5 in the King James Version of the Bible, and it says, Then Naomi, her mother-in-law, said unto her, My daughter, shall I not seek rest for thee, that it may be well with thee? And now is Boaz of our kindred, whose maidens thou was, behold, he winnoweth barley tonight in the threshingfloor. Wash thyself therefore, and anoint thee, and put thy raiment upon thee, and get thee down to the floor, and make not thyself known unto the man until he have done eating and drinking. And it shall be when he lieth down that thou shalt mark the place where he shall lie. Thou shalt go in and uncover his feet and lay down, and he will tell thee what thou shalt do. And she said unto her, All that thou sayest unto me, I will do. Ruth's telling Naomi, that's what I'm going to do. We've been in this series, and this is number 6. That says, when you get to the place, just shut your mouth and wait. This is critical. When you get to the place, and I've talked about the place in the other videos that God's got prepared for us, don't try to force things and try to make things happen. Just wait. All God wants you to do is just get to the place He's prepared and wait. Ruth is in the place and ready, and the one who is going to change her destiny is asleep. What do you do when someone is not excited about what you're excited about? You know, God's working with you. God has called you. He hadn't sent you yet, and you're enthused about it, and maybe you slip up and tell somebody about it, and they're not enthused. Your first tendency is to try to convince them, but God says, just wait. Don't try to make it happen. Don't try to force it to happen. Just wait. Just be prepared and wait. God will set before you an open door. If you open the door, you'll have to try to keep it open. But when God opens the door, no man can open it, no man can shut it. Ruth can say, Devil, if you wanted me to faint, you should have made me faint in Moab or in a corner of the field. I'm about to receive my blessing now. When you're waiting, the enemy will tell you that that you need to be doing something when you really don't need to be doing anything. You just need to be wait. Just need to wait. You just need to wait on God to get there and to prove you. You don't have to tell people what you are and what God's doing with you. God will prove it. You don't have to tell people what your job is. They will know it and they will recognize it and they'll tell you before it's over. My dad, I told you he taught me 2 good lessons. One of them he taught me was not to make fun of anyone, and I've told that before. And he taught me about bragging, and I've told you that one before. But my dad, he worked for civil service. He worked on the arsenal. And then about the 2nd grade, we had something to bring home about if your dad did work for civil service. I don't know if they got some sort of a substitute at school or what. But I was not old enough to fill out the papers, and I asked my mother's help. And I asked my daddy, I said, what do you do? He said, you just tell him I'm a janitor. And he wasn't a janitor, but he didn't believe in bragging. So he told my mother to put down he was a property and supply clerk. And he was, I guess. And so we did that for a while. And when I got on up to about 10th, 11th, 12th grade, I got brave myself. And I said, Dad, I know that surely your title has changed in these years. And come to find out, he was contracts administrator. One of my brothers worked for a company called Brown Engineering, and they got a little froggy, and he said, don't mess with me. I might not, he was kidding, might not extend your contract or something like that. He was way more important than I thought. But he taught me not to brag, and I sure am glad he did, because it's not good for the flesh games, credit. None of that's any good. It's not good at all. Jesus is the light. I'm not the light, but through him he can shine on me and let people see are you, and let people see you in his plans. It's like the moon. I reckon the moon don't have any light. It just reflects the light of the sun. I would have no light at all if it wasn't for him, and neither would you. I'm not into playing flesh games. Who did this the most, and who's got this the most, and who did this? I haven't done anything except that God has shined on me a little bit. I would have no wisdom at all if I got any if it wasn't for Him. I've never healed anyone. I've never given anybody salvation. But so we get way hung up with who gets the credit. And if you make too much noise, I'm here to tell you that some people may oppose you. And I heard a story about two wolves. A Indian father talking to his Indian son, and he told his son, "Son, there are two wolves that live within you, and they're fighting to see who gets control. There's a good wolf, and there's a bad wolf, and they're fighting to get control of you." And the Indian son says, "Who's going to win, Father?" And the Indian father says, "Whoever you feed." So that's the same way it is here. Just flying under the radar. That way you won't get as much opposition. So when you get to that place, shut your mouth. There'll be a number of years, whatever your work is, especially in the ministry, that it seemed like that you're not moving forward very fast at all. You're laboring in that, and it seems like nobody's noticing maybe, but they will. If you've got wisdom, you don't have to go around telling people that you've got wisdom. I don't think. If you're the minister of the church, you don't have to beat on your chest and say, "I'm the minister." You don't have to tell your wife, I'm the man of the house. And you don't have to say too many times to your children, "I'm the father," because people's going to know what you are. And they're going to recognize it as quickly as you do. I remember when I was growing up, my dad moved us to New Orleans when I was 5, and I tried to get in the first grade. My mother tried she tried to take me to kindergarten and enroll me there. And here, my birthday's in December, here you had to be 6 by October 1st, or you had to start the next year. And my birthday was in December, so in Alabama, in Huntsville, Alabama, where I grew up, I would have had to start when I was 7, or almost 7. But with going to New Orleans, instead of putting me in kindergarten, they put me in the first grade. So I got a head start. And my name's Dale. I about told my mother, I said, "Mother, what were you thinking when you named me Dale?" Because in 1954, when I was in the first grade, Dale Evans and Roy Rogers was riding the Happy Trails. And I took a lot of grief in the first grade, people saying that Dale Evans, and it don't make no difference now, but in the first grade, it was pretty traumatic, And so I had a friend named Ben. He had failed on the first grade. He was a big old boy besides his age, and he saved me from a lot of grief because he would have bonked on the top of their head if they had kept it up. So Ben saved me. But Ben was the kind of boy, he rode to school with us sometimes. Like I say, he had failed. Should have been in the second grade. He was in the first. And he was one of them type of people, and I know nearly you've met somebody like that it doesn't matter what you had. He had something bigger and something better. If your daddy this, his daddy could that. If you said that, look at my dad, he's got this radio, which was a big deal in the 50s. He got this radio in his car. He'd say, "My dad's got 2 of them," and that's just the way he was. I don't want to out brag anybody. When we're in church and we're looking for miracles, and I tell our church and say a lot of times, "Did you come looking for a miracle today?" And when we get the flesh nailed to the cross, the spirit can come from the back of the house to the front of the house. And there was a mother asked Jesus if her two sons could sit one on the right and one on the left. You better be careful what you ask for, because there may be the proportion of glory may be to the proportion of suffering. So if you're not willing to suffer, you might ought to be careful what you ask for. So, oh yeah, there's some glory in the ministry, no doubt about it. I wouldn't trade it for anything. But you've got some sleepless nights, and you've got some responsibility, and you need to, as we tell people as sinners, you need to count the cost. And I'm so glad God called me. Helping people is all I want to do. And I hope I'm helping you today. If you need me, I've been giving my phone number out, 256-508-4410. I'm in the directory, the Holiness Directory, and but you can call and text me. I might not get back to you right away, but I'll get back to you as soon as I can. May God bless you is my prayer.